Welcome to Marriage, Let's Talk, hosted by legendary worldwide marriage encounter leader, Father Rosy Rosebrough, featuring Catholic married couples from around the world who demonstrate healthy communication for building better marriages. And now, here's Father Rosy.
Hi, Father Rosy here. I'm glad you could join us today. This podcast is not talking about marriage. It is where we're going to share how to create a better marriage through communicating feelings in authentic ways.
So today we prepare our letters based on a book. We read this book a few years ago, but while writing our letters, we thought it'd be a good one to reflect about.
The book is called The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And the five languages that he said is like, be aware of your spouse, about how do they want physical touch is their language, or gifts, or quality time. The fourth one is words of affirmation and acts of service. So we decided to tell people about when we get it wrong about our spouse's love language, or when we get it right. So Juan's going to start with his sentiments.
Yeah, so thinking about communication and what's the love language of your spouse, it as simple as it seems, it's not. It takes a lot of listening and prayer. The one love language that I improved over time and I got better awareness of was quality time, right? I love quality time, but my view of quality time was to do a lot of things at the same time. So multitasking, back-to-back fun. And in that, I realized that maybe I was also creating fatigue and sometimes frustration. And I didn't see that. So that was important for me to reflect that quality time doesn't mean to do a lot of things at the same time. But I also then, when I wrote my letter, I wanted to reflect on the time, or we wanted to reflect on the times where we actually got something right. So my letter is about something where Connie got something right for me, and then something where I got something right for her. So here's my letter. I can't believe it happened again. Connie signed me up for an event without asking me. That would be me a few years ago. Looking back at the last 16 years, there have been many gifts from you that led to unexpected blessings. Like the time you signed me up for a Crucillo retreat, I went there thinking it would be a long weekend. I quickly realized I just needed to change my attitude. I grew up on my faith, I made new friends, but more importantly, I learned how to journal about God moments. Those times when we can see God's blessings in our daily lives if we just pay more attention. Some of my favorite memories in our years in Minnesota were sharing our God moment journal in some of those lakes or state parks that we enjoy a lot. More specifically, spiritual quality time is important to us. Spiritual quality time is one of the love languages that we both enjoy. By the way, that Cursillo retreat helped me get closer to you and reassure my marriage intentions at that time. A few years later, when we moved to St. Louis. It happened again. This time you signed us up for the best Lent ever with Matthew Kelly, a 40-day commitment this time. But since then, all our Lenten preparation got better. And it is a time of the year that I look forward to spend some quality time with you. Spiritual quality time is a love language that we both enjoy. And I feel blessed that I understand this love language better over the years. It's a feeling that is humbling and peaceful, like a sunset in our favorite place in Lake Michigan. Is an 8 on a 1 to 10 scale. I'm thankful for the gifts you brought to our marriage, and I pray that we get more spiritual quality time in the years to come. Love, Juan.
Thank you for that. And so affirmed that I had no doubt in my mind that you were somebody I wanted to marry. So my love language, if you remember, one of them is gifts. And the way that I was getting it wrong is if you think that your love language is the same as your spouse. So my letter is about that. So, dear one, receiving gifts is not your love language. I learned this the hard way, the guilty way, the frustrating way. That even giving gifts was something that you were never accustomed to either. I remember thinking early on in our marriage, how's this going to work at Christmas? We've had our share of guilt walking in the mall, walking past jewelry stores. Was any of that supposed to be ever for me? Was I the impetuous wife? What I was supposed to do? What was I supposed to do if that's not your love language, but it's mine? I didn't put it there. Should I feel guilty that my heart loves cherishing gifts from you and my parents? After understanding the book, it seemed that you started to empathize with me, or were you giving in to me? Whatever it was, I remember feeling very grateful one time. Remember one Christmas, not too many years ago, my parents had given me a pair of dainty flower earrings. Then it was our turn to exchange gifts. I almost dreaded it, but you said, okay, let's go to the Galleria Mall. Did you remember that it would make me so happy to match something to go with my parents' present? What was happening? Was it happening? The adult wife was going to the mall for my gift. In the car, I felt guilty again. Were you happy taking me? Or were you dreading this? These mixed feelings were making me not enjoy the ride there. Nevertheless, I entered the sparkly store and the department with huge eyes, eager to find a match to my twinkly earrings. My excitement waned as I could not find anything. Then my heart felt so warm when I saw that you were turning things over, looking things through displays after display. And then after being happy, I kept sinking every time the attendants say, hey, how about this similar thing? And you stuck up for me. You impressed me by saying, nah, that's not going to do it. Then I finally heard you say, found it. It sounded so gallant to me. I felt glee and elation because you were so proud to have found a small flowery twinkly necklace that goes perfectly. We both felt this harmony of getting it right. You were happy for me. I was so grateful. The kind of gratefulness that bears giant tears that just don't drop. The joy I felt was so harmonized because it bridged a peace from both my parents and you. I will remember how special that made me feel, and this memory will comfort me when my parents go to be with the Lord. Every time I wear this, I'll remember that you and my parents want to see my sparkly smile. It reminds me that frustration, disharmony, and guilty fatigue is not from God. And it reminds me that God's love for even me, his gifts loving daughter, is within us. I'd love to continue to bless others with you. I love the joy that gifts do for people on our behalf, especially if it brings people closer to God. I love you, and I am so grateful for you, Connie.
So
Thanks. Yes, continue.
yeah, I wanted to ask some questions on Connie's letter. Especially because I don't get it right all the time. I'm terrible at gift giving. And this is good for me to understand Connie's love language better. Connie, you mentioned that there is some feeling of guilt, but I think you are pretty frugal, and you manage kind of our family budget very well. Tell me more about the feeling of guilt.
Well, it's with some passages that come to mind, like not loving things of the world and material things. But I even have the flower necklace right now and the earrings. But I don't wear them to show off. I don't, but it plays with your head. It does. It's like I'm not doing it to show off, but the feeling like at the end of the letter, I'm not kidding. I wear it because it reminds me of the time that we looked for it together. These were from my parents and this was from you. But the guilt, if I let it, can be very strong because of our upbringing and maybe mixing up passages.
No, thank you for that. I think that you're a very responsible person, and I could sense that guilt feeling is hard on you.
Yeah, that's kind of words of affirmation, by the way.
I also love that one gift, like, because I'm not that good at that, and it seems like it brought harmony to you, that now you have something from me and your parents, and I feel good about that as well. But I also think that you are very thoughtful when you select your gifts. You think about people and what they would like, and I think you have a special eye for picking things. Maybe share some of your feelings when you get it right and you see somebody that's enjoying something that you pick. What does that feel like?
Yeah, well, first of all, the feeling, the moment that you said found it, I stopped waffling about, if I were to, on my way to the mall, I was a 3, then I was 7, then a 3, then a 7, and that can really rattle your head. As soon as you found it, it was just 10. It was just 10. And it was like this thing, like, I know this is from God. He wants me to be happy. We were both happy that you found it. This is not an expense. I don't know if how expensive it was or whatever, but it's not like, 40 million diamonds or anything like that. But it just made me happy. I was sure it was a 10. It was a 10 feeling instead of that waffling frustration. So that was me and us and my parents in a moment. It was like that heavenly sound, like whoa, like you're in a zone. But then to your next question, what was your other question about?
It's like,
Finding gifts.
yeah, when you get it right. Yeah, I think that one of the love languages of gifting is about that. It's about not what you get, it's kind of what you get to others. And
Yeah,
I think you had some really good. I know you had some really good gifts for some people, and you brought them a lot of joy.
yeah.
And maybe
Well,
that
gifts are my strongest love language, whether I'm receiving it or picking a gift out for someone, especially if it's layered with spirituality, and especially if it's with you. Remember, I would describe it like, remember after Bible study, a gentleman, he's out evangelizing and he didn't have a lot of money, and he said, somebody wants some Bibles in Spanish. Can you guys do you guys have a resource for that? And we said, hey, let's get you Amazon. And he wanted 3, and I gave him those Bibles after church, and I walked away from the front steps, but I forgot that I was gonna go ask him a question. And I saw him thanking God. And I'm like, God used us to make him so happy. And that's even a higher 10 than somebody giving me a gift. I'm like, wow, somebody's praying to God that we gave them a Bible. And that to me is not just a love language of romance and marriage, but our marriage is like that vessel that blessed the young man. And that is to me like another 10 or multiplication of 10. So, any other questions?
no, thank you for sharing that. And I know that it's been understanding quality time better for me. It's been great. And adding the spirituality to that is it brings a lot of joy to us. And also, why not share our blessings as well? Um, so I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, we could almost do a talk on each one of these, just on, you could get it wrong by the same language, just interpreting it differently. And you could get it wrong by saying, oh, my love language is his. And you could get it right. You could get each one of these right by just empathizing, I think.
Thank you both very, very much. What excites me is that the joy that you both express when you hit a home run. And you also go and you're frustrating, you're worried about, is he feeling up okay, or does he really want to do this at all, or is he sacrificing, or is he being, if I dragged him here, he wanted to make me happy, and all of a sudden, and he found it, and he knew it was the right thing. And your joy of wearing it helps expand the memory of Juan picking it out. And it's so rich that even if it didn't cost, it didn't have 40 million diamonds, it was so precious to you because of the closeness and intimacy you experienced that together, which is really a tremendous gift. That's what dialogue is. And if in dialoguing, you delve deeper into the feeling, to taste it, smell it, to feel it, to harvest it, and then that gift is mind, it's mind-boggling, and it goes deeper into your skin and your heart, and that's what appreciating each other's love language is so beautiful. So that is just yeah. So thank you so much for that sharing tonight. Awesome. Well, you guys
Thank
have
you.
a great night. Thank you for sharing, being vulnerable tonight. I want to thank the beautiful couple, Juan and Connie Mayta. And remember that when you open the blades of grass, you can experience God's joy every day. Much love, Rosie. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for the guests we had today who shared willingly themselves in their dialogue. And thank you for joining us. I look forward to the next episode when I join you again once more.
This has been Marriage, Let's Talk, sponsored by Worldwide Marriage Encounter, the foremost faith-inspired marriage enrichment organization in the world, providing married couples with transformative experiences through couples retreats, small groups, and more. Learn to nurture love in your marriage at wwme.org. Marriage, Let's Talk is a production of Mater Media, the apostolate that offers the Celebrate Catholic Marriage experience to energize and fortify married couples through parish events and the 7-step journey to joy. Find out more at matermedia.org.